Hello, my name is Chris Reiser. I'm a teaching pastor at Grace Community Church in Maryville, Tennessee. It's also been, by the grace of God, my privilege to be one of the founding members of Excel Ministries. And it has been for 30 years our passion to have excellence in leadership through quality Christian training. And it's been a joy for us to be able to pour out our lives in training men during this time. One of the privileges that I also have is I'm able to do some international training for Excel Ministries. And really the purpose is to take the churches that are there who have already established their ministries and yet have a great need to begin at all levels of training. The first level really is learning to train men in the church itself, and then beginning to take those men who are emerging as those who could be elder qualified to train them as elders, and then by the Lord's grace, perhaps even training them to be pastors to go out into other areas. As I've had the privilege over the years, about 40 years of ministry, of being in various countries in the world. I've had the privilege of being in Ukraine, I've been in China, Nigeria, Argentina, led missions trips to Haiti and also to India. In each place that I've gone, we certainly have seen that the training of men, while sometimes done well, almost always is lacking in various aspects. And usually the issue involved with training men is that there's a lack of resources. The pastors would love to be able to train men. They know that training men is important, and yet they don't have the resources to do so. So it is our privilege to be able to then go to those countries and provide those men with resources that are already well prepared. So they don't have to take the time to try to invent a new system to take their men from just the basics all the way up to elder training. So it's our goal really in each of these places to be able to walk pastors through these resources. Additionally, one of the issues that those on the mission field run into, and really in any foreign country, is that there's not usually a support for training men. Usually either the missionary or the pastor is essentially given this task, and they have to do it on their own. Even in the United States, there's kind of a cultural pressure against training men at every level. Usually it's the pastor he's supposed to have all the expertise. He's supposed to be able to be the one that accomplishes all of those things. And so our goal is not only to help the men themselves, the pastors, understand what it means to train, but also to help the congregations understand that they participate in that training. They are part of both training men for ministry, and they are those who will be trained. So it really is helping retrain the mindset of a church, and oftentimes the mindset of a missionary who goes expecting to do the ministry. And oftentimes it seems like that training men would be something that's added on later. And if they were to take the time to do it then, it would take them away from some of the important things that they are doing. Part of our goal, particularly for missionaries and in international ministry, is that we would help men to realize that training men is something that's immediately important. It is their goal to be able to have men come alongside of them who will grow with them in the ministry as they build the ministry, and then we'll be able to help them extend that ministry as the church grows, as the Lord might bless it in that way. So training men is not something that can be done later, it's really something that needs to be done immediately. Another aspect of ministry that we often see in foreign settings is that there's just so much to do. Both the missionaries and those who are in the indigenous local churches have a burden to try to shepherd men. They have to try to care for the needs of their flock. They're trying to preach a couple of times a week. And so having the time to train men seems impossible. So not only do we want to provide them with resources, we also want to provide them with encouragement. So as we have the opportunity, we want to do that as members of the Excel board, but really our bigger picture goal in international ministry is to seek to establish those in each individual country who will be able to oversee groups of churches, then be their contact point for encouragement, for strengthening, for additional resources. So that we as Excel are not trying to have our hands involved in all of the things that are going on. We're going to a country, identifying men that can accomplish these things, and then handing off the ministry to them. Our resources are free, we don't charge anything for them, and yet it can be difficult, say, to print or things that we would try to send to them. So if we can establish those who are training and who are overseeing the training in these countries, then they can begin to print resources, they can begin to oversee pastors in their ministries, be helping them in their own language and in their own situation. So this is our overall goal when it comes to this. We just want to, as we see this tremendous need around the world, we want to help be part of establishing really those who will train and encourage others in other countries around the world. Now, another part of what we do as we seek to present these truths to men is that we want to be there to support those who are involved at every level. In order to do this, these resources, really, we would love to see them established in the different languages. So another part of establishing someone to oversee ministry in a particular country is that they would be in charge of translating these resources into the languages that are indigenous to the peoples there. That will enable them to be able to more quickly and more effectively use the resource. It's going to be far beyond us to try to do all of those language translations. But if we can hand those off to those in the different countries, then we'll be able to see that ministry move forward more quickly. So our passion, our goal is not just to train men in the United States, it is to train them around the world for every tribe and tongue and people and nation. As we do so, we would love to see the Lord do that work in establishing the training, the excellence in leadership, in quality Christian training in each of these countries around the world.